So, good morning, everyone from India. I'm very happy to host this program along with SECREV from the Human-Centric Cybersecurity Partnership in Montreal, Canada. The Cybersecurity Revolution, SECREV, is a groundbreaking 24-hour global online event that follows the sun, streaming cutting-edge cybersecurity research and discussions from locations around the world, starting at UTC 0.00 and running until midnight. Designed to be open, inclusive, and completely free to attend, SECREV brings together researchers and practitioners to explore the latest challenges and innovations in cybersecurity. So this program is co-organized by this Human-Centric Cybersecurity Partnership in Montreal, Canada, along with international collaborators like us, the International Institute of Justice and Police Sciences, the host of this particular program, especially the session 3, which is on deepfakes, AI, criminological, legal, and technological perspectives. And today we are going to join with 3 presentations, one by myself on the dark side of digital deception, criminological insights into deepfake crimes, 2, regulating reality, legal challenges and solutions in the age of deepfakes by Dr. Alaeldin from Ajman University, United Arab Emirates, and 3, by battling synthetic media, AI-powered detection and defense strategies by Prasanna Guntur, the founder of Supra, Hyderabad. I'll try to give a small overview about the session. The rapid advancement of AI-generated deepfakes presents unprecedented challenges across criminology, law, and cybersecurity. This session explores the multifaceted risk posed by deepfake technology, examining its criminological implications, legal ramification, and technological countermeasures. Experts from diverse fields will provide insights into how deepfakes are weaponized, the evolving legal frameworks to combat misuse, and cutting-edge solutions to detect and mitigate threats. As pointed earlier, that we have 3 experts, including me. But first, I would allow Dr. Alaeldin to join the program and make his presentation for around 30 minutes. So I will give a brief introduction about Dr. Alaeldin. Dr. Alaeldin is currently an assistant professor at the School of Law, College of Law at Ajman University, and he's a renowned legal scholar specializing in cyber law and digital forensics. With extensive expertise in Middle Eastern and international cyber legislation, he advises governments on legal frameworks to combat AI-driven disinformation and fraud. So with this brief introduction, I am very happy to invite Dr. Alaeldin. So you have 30 minutes time from now. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor J, for this introduction. Good morning from United Arab Emirates, and good evening to all of you joining us from across the globe, from India to Canada. Probably I have to share my presentation, so let me just start this one. Okay. So I believe that you can see my presentation right now.
Yes,
we can see.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay, it is both an honor and a privilege to be part of this remarkable global event that brings together experts, academics, practitioners, and technologists to talk about these critical issues of our digital age. I would like to express my sincere thanks to the International Institute of Justice and Peace and Police Sciences and the Human-Centric Cybersecurity in Montreal for this opportunity. Probably to start, I will start with the big news yesterday. It is one of the world's biggest AI-generated porn sites, what it's called Mr. Deepfake, has been shut down. Of course, not because of any regulation, but because a service provider decided to terminate this website. So my presentation titled Regulating Reality, Legal Challenges and Solutions in the Age of Deepfake. Of course, as from legal perspective, We're always looking for solutions from a legal perspective, how we can create laws and regulation to defeat such kind of criminal activity. This reminds me actually when we start talking about cyber crimes, for my own experience, talking about nearly 27 years ago, about how we can defeat cyber crimes and how we can use the law or the criminal law at that time to tackle this kind of a new issue. We struggled first with the definition and then how we can apply the traditional law to the cyber world. And now we have, I believe we have almost similar situation where we have now cybercrime laws, but we have something a bit different from internet crimes or cyber crimes or computer crimes, whatever you like, you can call it. We have now the same issue. How we can apply not the traditional crimes, not the criminal law, but the cyber law or computer crimes to deepfakes, which is one part of the AI. So what's deepfake? Of course, we have to understand and to know what's deepfake from legal perspective so we can find out the solution. Of course, there are different solutions. We have legal solution, we have technological solution, and I believe some of my colleagues will talk about that. And also we have a solution probably from the end user, from the people, from the victims, or from the people who are gonna fall as a victim. So what's deepfake? Deepfake in simple terms uses AI or one of the AI application to produce content that looks and sounds real, but it's not authentic. I'm gonna talk about deepfake from good to bad, the legitimacy of deepfake technology, deepfake crimes, emergence. How does deepfake work? I will leave it for the experts in this field, and deepfake crimes and legal responses. So deepfakes can fool people into believing that something or someone said something they didn't say or acted in a way that they didn't act. This ability makes deepfake particularly dangerous in areas like misinformation, politics, and personal reputation. Of course, we have different definitions, like example, as we have in cyber crimes. However, deepfake, it has good side or positive side and bad side. Of course, as you can see, it can be used in movies, like for example, The Irishman in 2019, where they used different actors, even some actors who already died, or they bring them to life, like the one in Star Wars movie. It has different usage as well in the future of personalized virtual assistants, where we have like example like the replica, where you can talk even to someone who's close to you, but he's not really the same person, but using the AI. Enhance online education with realistic simulations. So that's one of also of the promising usage of a deepfake in the future. It's already been used actually now. Now, when we jump to the negative usage or the bad side of negative, cyber criminals are using deepfake to create fake videos of people in authority, like CEOs or politicians, to scam others or steal sensitive information or spread fake news. I can imagine maybe one day while I'm sitting here in UAE, I get a call on messengers or any of these applications from my son in Australia, talking to me. This is my son. talking to me and asking help. Dad, I am struggling. I'm in trouble. I need help, please. And I talked to my son. Please send me some money. Then I send him the money. And the next day I call him, how you are doing? What's happened? He told me, what you are talking about? What? So this is kind of deep fake. And it happened even with people lost a lot of money, like talking about companies, they lost money, millions of dollars for such kind of scamming using deep fake. So now the question is the legitimacy of deep fake technology. The use of deepfake technology raises many legal and ethical questions, of course, as it is potential for misuse is significant. Politicians, legal experts, and technologists have ongoing debates regarding whether deepfake should be considered legitimate or illegal in certain contexts. So we have two different opinions about that. One supporting legitimacy. Some argue that deepfake technology has legitimate uses that can benefit various sectors like entertainment, education, and marketing, as I mentioned earlier. Others believe the harm caused by deepfakes may outweigh any benefits. These concerns include misinformation, could be disrupt democratic process, social damage, economical, political damage could be as the result of deepfake. Of course, as from our perspective, we can say should be banned, or deepfake is a criminal, or whatever use deepfake is a kind of a criminal. Even now, I will show you where could be the first kind of law in the world where it started in South Australia. And that's where I'm talking about from legal perspective. I'm picking up different countries. Talking about the most advanced, or one of the most advanced countries in Australia, how they deal with deepfake. I'm talking about one of the highest income countries like UAE, and one of the lowest world income as well, for example, Jordan. And also I will talk about China, how the Chinese approach deepfake. So deepfake crimes is rising, something we see, we hear it in the news. Even some of our closest friends and families, they fall victim of deepfake. So as you can see, deepfake crimes could be against individuals, could be against states. So for example, I show you some examples of kind of deepfake crimes. One of them, the sextortion. So sextortion, we know it in cyber law and cyber crimes, but now deepfake is used to commit this kind of crime. Now, what's the difference? What's the difference between deepfake sextortion, or we talk about political blackmail, and deepfake fraud and scam? So what's the difference? From deepfake, it's really a difference. That's why we have to face this reality and find a solution, legal solution I'm talking about here. It's easy to commit deepfake. It's hard to detect deepfake. And the damage can cause is unbearable or unbearable. Like you can't repair the damage can cause by the deepfake crimes. We have a lot of examples of crimes. Even, for example, the most richest person in the world, Elon Musk, has been used as in deepfake crimes, where he was announcing for certain type of cryptocurrency. A lot of people, they believe that this was Elon Musk, and they bought this kind of cryptocurrency, but then it appeared that one of the deepfake crimes. Deepfake defamation and revenge. Yep, this is where the most now part of deepfake can be used. We can see the 96 of the deepfake is used in pornography and defamation. You can imagine different scenarios of deepfake. You can imagine at work, for example, the video depicts someone speaking negatively about his colleagues, or in education, depicts a teacher engaging in different sexual acts with students. Imagine even after that, or finding out this is a deepfake, how much damage caused to the victim. In sport, for example, showing someone engaging in illegal drugs use before he starting his competition. So we have different kind of deepfakes in different fields. Deepfakes against states, fake news or misinformation, undermine confidence in justice. And this is really very important, or it's critical, where deepfake used to fabricate evidence. So including fabricated videos, audios, recording, and images that appear but are entirely fabricated. So imagine a scenario where a person is wrongfully accused of a crime, and the defense team uses a deepfake video to make it look like they were at the crime scene, even though the person was nowhere near it. This could lead to miscarriage of justice. Or if deepfake are introduced into courtrooms, imagine, it could severely damage public trust in legal proceedings. People may start to doubt the validity of actual evidence, thinking that anything could be digitally altered to support or destroy someone's case. And this is remind me about early cyber crimes, when in Australia in 1996, where there was a challenge about the digital evidence at that time to be used in the court room. So we have almost similar scenario here. So what's the solution from legal perspective? Let us see legal responses from United Arab Emirates. The UAE legislator has issued several cyber laws, the latest of which is law number 34 of 2021 to combat rumors and cyber crimes. When we review this law, we can notice that it doesn't explicitly mention deepfake crimes. However, it includes several provisions that could indirectly criminalize this type of crime. For example, Article 16 can be used to criminalize some part of this. So also we have different articles, 23 as well, promoting using deepfake. So that's what I'm saying. The law itself is not enough, of course. We're looking and we need AI or technological solutions. That's really important, so that the person himself can take the action before the damage caused. Because as you believe now, even a simple cybercrime can last online forever. Even the damage caused can be moved to generation, and the defamation or the pictures of defamed person can be lost forever in cyberspace. Exactly, deepfake. Also, I can say the significant part on the people. For example, just a few months, there was a case in Australia where a teenager or 12 years old, he used the photos of his one of the classmates was published in social media, and he created a deep fake to damage her reputation. So education is important in this part, as well as a solution to face such kind of technology. Yes, Jay.
Yeah, thank you, Alaeldin. So we have completed within the time for your schedule. So we will get back to you again during your panel discussion, which will start after my presentation. And now we will go to Mr. Prasanna. So Prasanna will be currently talking from a technological perspective. So before going into his presentation, I would briefly introduce about him. So Prasanna, you can open your camera, please. Prasanna, are you there? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. Actually, your voice was not people,
Yeah, one minute.
Yeah, please. Thank you. So hello everyone, and across the world.
Introduce you, and then you can just start the presentation. So
yeah, so straight away going on to the presentation.
Yeah.
Let me start sharing it. Give me a second.
Yeah, today we are happy to have Mr. Prasanna Guntur as senior cybersecurity expert and technocrat. And Prasanna Guntur is a seasoned cybersecurity expert, technocrat, and industry leader with 20 years of global experience across Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, USA, Europe, and India. With a strong Big Four consulting background, he excels in technology management, leadership, and business strategy. A pioneer in cyber forensics, Prasanna played a pivotal role in establishing the state-of-the-art Control Z Cyber Forensic Lab at Nalsar University of Law, Hyderabad, enhancing India's digital investigation capabilities. As an empaneled trainer for analyst training and a guest lecturer for government agencies, including UPSC officers, he bridges the gap between technology and governance. His expertise span artificial intelligence, blockchain, Internet of Things, security, digital forensics with certification in Prince2, Microsoft Software Asset Management. Prasanna has held senior roles at KPMG, Dell, Commonwealth Bank Australia, and Cybercorps, and was instrumental in launching Plan IT's operation in New Zealand. An accomplished speaker, he has conducted 100 plus sessions on topics ranging from technology for good governance, machine learning for cybersecurity. And he has 2 master's degrees, especially in management and also in information system from Queensland University, Australia. And the key achievement is that he founded a cybersecurity firm called Supra, and also specializing in AI-driven threat detection. And also other achievements include advising governments and corporates on cyber prevention and digital diplomacy. So with these few words of introduction, I'm very glad to invite Mr. Prasanna to start his presentation on battling synthetic media, AI-powered detection and defense strategies from a technology perspective. Thank you.
Thank you for that intro, Jay. So to start off, battling synthetic media and AI-powered detection and defense strategies. This is a very vast subject, and I was mentioning to Jay, we'll try to do the justice as much as we can and try to cover it up in 30 minutes. So when we talk about AI and synthetic media, power detection, and defense strategies, now how do we battle with this? We're talking about the era that we are in currently, where the technology innovation and synthetic media, and basically when you say that, we're talking about artificially generated and manipulated contents. Now these are being created and being used at a very fast pace, and they have emerged as a very powerful and pervasive force. I think the pervasive force is the key word, though it is not only just powerful, because the amount it is being used for the wrong reasons rather than the right reasons has increased. So in this, we have the realistic deepfake videos, we have cloned voices, they are entirely AI written articles that are going around. So the synthetic media is pretty much shaping how the information landscape is going to be, and it is happening at a very unprecedented speed and scale, both, right? So that is actually the biggest threat we have, and so how these are being powered. These are being powered by advanced generative models like the GANs, the generative adversarial networks, the diffusion model, and we have the large language models. Diffusion models have been used very extensively, even in creating advertisements. But that just being one positive thing about diffusion models, but they're being used for the wrong reasons also. So the production of realistic digital contents, it does not require any specialized skills or significant resources. You have softwares, you have a lot of ready online applications which can be used, and people are able to produce realistic digital contents. Now, with this background, the technologies, they're offering very creative and commercial opportunities from entertainment to virtual assistants. Now, they also pose serious threats, as we were saying, as the negative side, where the malicious actors, they are wielding a synthetic media to commit frauds, manipulate public opinion, spread information, undermine the trust in digital evidence. They are also controlling, elections in different countries, the kind of the undercurrents and the themes. So the narratives that are being told to the public, everything is being controlled now. So the growing accessibility of these tools, combined with the capacity to deceive even an experienced observer, and it raises urgent concerns about the authenticity, accountability, and integrity. I mean, these three things are very important, especially when you talk about AI and cybersecurity: authenticity, accountability, and integrity, right? So this is the background, and how do we address these challenges? The development of AI powered detection and defense strategies. It is very important that we have something to detect, and there should be something to defend them, right? So the tools, they not only help in identifying the synthetic content, but also support the verification. Now they also enhance the digital literacy, establish technical safeguards across the platforms, generate AI. The generative AI is continuing to evolve, and so much the tools, because the speed at which the generative AI is evolving is 10 times or 10x. Then the tools have to be developed at least at 10x, if not more, right? So the strategy is designed to counteract its misuse, right? So you also have to have tools and strategies, both have to be designed at the same pace. So this particular presentation that I'm going to talk about is going to explore the current landscape of synthetic media. It examines the AI-driven detection and defense approaches and outlines the road ahead for ensuring information resilience in the face of emerging threats across the globe, right? So no, we playing in a global village. Well, that's what we call, because the world has become a village, one single village with the reach of information technology and the threat landscape that we have discussed in brief. So the synthetic media technologies, they're advancing at a very fast pace, blurring the line between authentic and fabricated digital content. The problem is not being faced just by the corporates, it's also being faced by museums, art galleries, whatnot. Everybody is having some shape or form. They're going to have an impact because of this synthetic media, right? So this section of threat landscape, it's going to talk about the synthetic, the various forms that synthetic media can take. What are the real world abuses of this, and the emerging trends that underscore the urgency to have countermeasures, right? So types of synthetic media that we want to talk about is very wide range of modalities. Each has got a different type of generative AI. So the deepfakes, the distinguished speaker before me has discussed in quite detail about this. We have deepfakes, which is more about videos and images, not necessarily, but mostly, right? So the AI generated visual content that can realistically alter and replace faces, voices, settings, etc. There are tools just such as Deepfake Lab, Face Swap. They allow users to create high fidelity fake videos with a very, very minimal technical expertise. Then you have another type of synthetic media, which is voice cloning and audio synthesis. So people can actually please, and also we need to understand that people can mix and match them, so they can have a deep fake at the same time also have voice cloning and audio synthesis together, so they can be combined. So this is a text to speech and voice cloning models. We have examples of like 11 Labs, Descripts Overdub. So they can replicate a person's voice with a striking accuracy, making impersonation easy and scalable. All you need to do is give that software a couple of text, or voice recordings, and it will pick up the accent, it will pick up the frequency, it will pick up all the parameters that are required for voice, and it will replicate the person's voice exactly. And it is very hard to say whether it is a replicated voice or it's a real voice, right? So we have the other thing is AI generated text. So there are language models like ChatGPT, Say. Then you have Cloud. They can generate persuasive human-like text, which may be used in phishing emails, fake news, propaganda, narratives. So AI-generated text is going to be used for all of this, right? Then you have synthetic images and avatars. Now we have, the Gilbert, which is the new one about avatars, where you provide your own, photo. It could be a photo of yourself or you and your family, friends, the loved ones, anybody it could be, and it kind of creates a digital avatar of yours, which is very similar to that, and it's kind of become a hype and a trend nowadays, especially with the young, audience. But the kind of threats it brings along, there are plenty. So the synthetic images and avatars, there are tools such as DALL-E, Midjourney, can create realistic people and scenes and identities that do not exist in real life. Just imagine, you're creating realistic people, you're also creating a scenes where probably two people would have never met, but you're making it look like they have actually met. And, they're often used in social medias for dating scams or media bots and whatnot, right? And some of the examples that we would be looking at, they're actually very high-profile incidents that have happened across the world, and it's in the real world. They are not theoretical; they're actually for real, right? And there was this financial scam of 2019. It's a deep fake, voice impersonating a CEO. It tricked an executive into transferring 200,000 to a fraudulent, account, 200,000 plus to a fraudulent account. Now, it is also happening, a lot in the South Asia where there's a deepfake voice and financial scams where people are impersonating the voices of, the Reserve Bank governors, the big shot businessmen, entrepreneurs, and whatnot, right? Then you have the political manipulations. There have been plenty of these. Several elections across the world, they've been altered or they have been entirely fabricated and orchestrated by these media clips and have been circulated to discredit a candidate, or you create a confusion in the public. So it could be either of them, right? So without going into specifics. So celebrity exploitation and harassment, this has happened across the world, whether it's the movie stars from the West or the movie stars in India, Korea, Malaysia, it could be anywhere, right? So there's been also a deepfake pornography and voice clone harassment have targeted actors, journalists, influencers. Now it's raising concerns about the digital consent and privacy. I mean, where are we heading with this? Then disinformation campaigns, state and non-state actors have used AI-generated text and imagery to fuel social unrest, spread conspiracy theories, undermine trust in the democratic institutions. This has been happening for quite some time, and this is also happening between enemy states and enemy countries. So they're doing it for each other. So what are the emerging trends and concerns that we're talking about? The new trends making the synthetic media even harder to detect and counter. So there has been strategies, there have been tools that have been developed, but it is just becoming more and more difficult. So there is a real-time generation, which is advancement in inference speed and edge computing are enabling deepfakes to be generated and streamed live. So they're posing threats in scenarios like video calls and live broadcasts. So how do you control this? Where you have people making video calls, they're making live broadcasts, where the speed at which the AI can generate or the synthetic media can be generated because of the edge computing and the speed of the computers that we have, that makes detection slightly difficult. And there is a low quality and high volume attacks. Synthetic outputs remain imperfect. Please note that in spite of all the technology that we're talking about, if there is sufficiently good software or technology that can actually detect, the synthetic medias can be detected because they are not 100% perfect. So the sheer volume is what is actually worrying people. So it can overrun the human moderation systems and flood the online platforms with deceptive content. So please note that even though the synthetic media is not perfect, it is becoming difficult to detect, not because the efficiency of the softwares or the systems that are working on it, but it is purely because it is overwhelming and the amount of high volumes of the attacks is overwhelming, and that's making it difficult, right? Then you have synthetic identities. Now, synthetic identity frauds have been around for quite some time. They're being used to do financial scams, across US for quite some time, where people create synthetic identities of others, wherein they mix and match more than one individual's identity, and they create a new a person who doesn't really exist in real world. And based on that, they've done a lot of financial scams. Unfortunately, it has spread to other parts of the world also. And synthetic identity fraud seems to be a very, very popular thing going forward. So these are the AI-generated profiles. They have the complete images, bios, and interaction histories. They are being used to espionage, fraud, create a large-scale misinformation efforts, do a large-scale scams. So they're being used for everything. So these highlight the growing complexity of synthetic media threat. Now, the attack has become more sophisticated. Defenders must respond with equally adaptive and intelligent strategies. In fact, there was actually a web series also that was made on synthetic identities, where there is kind of a huge, gang of people who are actually all colluding to execute a synthetic identity fraud, right? Then we have detection strategies. Detecting synthetic media is a rapidly evolving field, and it privileges artificial intelligence. Humanly doing it might be difficult because of the sheer speed and the volumes that we're talking about. And then you have digital forensics. You have content verification frameworks to identify manipulated or fabricated content, right? So generative models, they become increasingly capable, and detection strategies should always stay one ahead. They should always stay one step ahead by incorporating adaptive and multi-layered techniques. So even before something comes, and if the strategies that I use or the tools, if they are always one step ahead, it actually helps, right? So in this detection strategy, we going to talk about the methods used by AI-powered synthetic media detection. So the AI learning and AI and machine learning approaches, the machine learning models, particularly we are talking about the deep learning architectures, form the backbone of many synthetic media detection systems. So the way it is executed and the way it is defended, they're not very different. Both of them actually use the deep learning architectures, right? So how they say the solution lies in the problem. This is how it looks like. The same was done for the vaccination of the penicillin injection. That was actually detected right from where the problem lied. So scientists actually use the same, bacteria that the virus with this for becoming an antidote. Similarly, what we are trying to do here is we are trying to look into deep learning architectures and see how AI and machine learning approaches can actually help, right? Then you have CNN. CNN is not, the media network. We're talking about the convolutional neural network. Now, these are used to detect visual artifacts in images and videos. It could be something like the blinking of an eye. So it's a visual artifacts, So it's pretty tough to actually record, but systems should be able to do it. And then you have unnatural eye blinkings. You have inconsistent lightening or irregular facial movement. All of this, right? And you're also used to detect visual artifacts, images, images. So basically, all these artifacts, they are picked up, and it becomes easy for detect. Okay? Then you have a recurrent neural network. So recurrent neural networks or RNNs and transformers. So applied in analyzing time series data like video frames or speech patterns to identify temporal inconsistencies, right? So then you have the audio forensics and spectrograms, deep learning models. We've been talking about for quite some time, deep learning models. Now they are trained on audio spectrograms. They can distinguish between a human and a synthetic speech by identifying, anomalies in frequency patterns or vocal inflection. So probably it could be, human being, it may not be possible to detect these anomalies in frequency patterns when somebody is speaking or the vocal inflection. But when we talk about a high powerful software or an AI detection tools, it becomes much easier. So, but please remember, all these models, they require a large database, base and a data sets of real and synthetic media for training, and their effectiveness depends upon the diversity and freshness of training data to prevent overfitting into older generation businesses, right, or the older generation techniques, right? Then we have digital watermarking and provenance. This is another technique. So before this, what we saw was CNNs, which is a convolutional neural networks. Then we saw recurrent neural networks, or RNN, and the transformers. Then we have audio forensics with spectrograms. So we have discussed this. And then we have the digital watermarking and provenance tracking. So one of the most promising lines of defense is the proactive embedding of markers into the synthetic content. So what we do is here we inject, or we actually put some identifiable markers that will tell you whether it is a real or synthetic content, right? So watermarking techniques, there are projects like Google DeepMind's synthetic ID. They embed invisible, so robot watermarks into AI-generated images that process through compression of edition, editing, right? Then you have the provenance standards. So there are some standards like the coalition for content provenance and authenticity, or C2PA, and they aim to establish that the metadata and encryption signature, to trace content of the origins, and they edit, and then the distribution of the history, right? So by providing transparency and traceability, the tools help platforms, journalists, and users verify whether content has been altered or artificially generated, right? Then you have multimodal and contextual verifications. In many cases, detection cannot rely on a single media type. So that, single media type could be a very strong point, but that does not tell the whole story. So they need to rely on multiple media types. So multimodal AI systems, they analyze multiple platforms of data to improve accuracy. Okay. So the cross-modality verification, which a system compares the audios, videos, and text component of a piece of content. For example, if somebody is trying to talk about a lip sync analysis, you want to see if the same person actually spoke. Now they can reveal discrepancies between speech and facial movement. So if you actually run those clips along the this particular software, they can actually tell you what are the difference between a speech and the basically the facial movement, right? So then we have the metadata and contextual analysis. So tools assess metadata, which is timestamps, location, device IDs. So nowadays, when we actually take photos, even from the smart phones, some of the latest phones that are in the market, it actually collects, along with the photo, it collects the timestamp. It also tells you the latitude and the longitude where the particular photo was taken and what kind of a device it was taken. So whatnot. So if you actually get hold of one such photo, you can tell, you can basically write a big story, right? So these, the tools that assess the metadata, which is the timestamps, location, device ID, and contextual cues, to determine authenticity. So the contextual cues are social media history, reverse image search, so on and so forth. So the layered systems are especially valuable in journalists and intelligence context, where a high degree of certainty is required. Okay, Jay, you'll have to time me and tell me, if you're running out of time. Yeah. So crowdsourcing and human AI collaborations.
You have
So
time.
while AI,
Prasanna, don't worry, time's.
yeah. So while AI excels at processing vast databases quickly, humans are still superior in interpreting nuanced signals and contextual subtleties. So there's certain things which are more of nuances and the subtleties that comes along with this in the context. So the crowdsourced facts checking. So you could have platforms like the YouTube, the X, which is what used to be called as Twitter earlier. So they incorporate community notes and user reports as part of the verification process. So they verify and they ensure that only the right people actually get the subscription or sign up in their platforms. So then you have hybrid moderation models, which is HMM. All filters, all the AI filters, filters contents and flags likely fakes. So while human moderators review edge cases to reduce false positives, so there could be false positives. So the moderators will ensure that the software is not picking any such false positives. So this collaborative approach, which is basically a balance between the humans and the speed and the scale of AI, with the critical thinking of ethical judgment, ethical judgment of human reviewers, right? So it's a collaborative approach that we're looking at. And AI-powered detection systems represent a wider line of defense. But as synthetic media generation tools continue to evolve, detection models must also constantly, or consistently updated and diversified, right? So the fourth step that we are talking about, or the fourth section we're talking about, is the defense strategies. Now we talk about how do we defend. We've got to know the history of the synthetic data and so on and so forth. Now we are talking about a pure defense strategy. So in a defense strategy, it is essential to identify the synthetic media. First, you need to identify where they are, and it must be part of a broader systematic approach to countering the threats, posed by the AI generated content. So, the defense strategy should be a very broad approach and not, short-sighted for a specific, reason. It should be quite broad. And effective defense strategies, they combine the technical innovation, just got regulatory safeguards, platform level enforcement, and public education. Public education is pretty key, very, very important. And this section, we would outline a multi-layered defense framework aimed at resilience and long-term mitigation, right? Then we have the proactive technical defenses. So in the proactive technical defenses, defenses against synthetic media begins with embedding safeguards directly into the generative systems and AI-enabled watermarking. AI-enabled watermarking. These are basically a generative models that integrate the digital signatures or the watermarks during content creation. So while the content is being created, then itself the digital watermarks or the integrated digital signatures, they're going to be put inside the system. So these persistence often invisible markers, they enable post-distribution verification without compromising quality. Then model level constraints. You have developers are implementing restrictions within AI models to limit the generation of harmful or deceptive contents. So again, here one needs to look at it, how you want to balance the user experience and the accuracy, at the same time not put the whole thing into difficulty. So the developers are implementing restrictions within AI model to limit the generation of harmful or deceptive content. This includes detection-aware training, output filters, and usage monitoring. This is something that they should do irrespective of situation, where they're detecting and they're aware of the training and what kind of output filters need to be put and what kind of a usage monitoring that needs to happen. So these approaches aim to reduce malicious misuse at the source, shifting responsibility towards model creators and distributors. So let us look at some platform level policies and enforcements. So these are more of a policy and enforcement, and they're not purely a software or a hardware that we just click and everything is taken care. So then we have social media and content sharing platforms are the frontline actors in the fight against synthetic media. So the social media is used across the globe for many reasons. There are like 10 or 20 social media applications that pretty much cover 90% of the market. And social media and the content sharing platforms, they become the frontline actors. Unfortunate that they become the frontline actors, or at the same time fortunate, depends upon for what purpose you actually need to use it. So you have automated moderating systems, or AMS. So the AI-driven tools, they are used to detect flag deepfakes and manipulated media at scale. So this includes video sharing, visual anomaly detection, and natural language processing for synthetic text. So the video hashing, visual anomaly detection, and natural language processing for the synthetic text. Now this can become slightly complex if the video hashing and the visual anomaly detection is not in sync with other ones. So the automated moderation system should be in sync, and the AI-driven tools that you use to detect and flag deepfakes and manipulated media, they'll be doing it at scale. So then you have transparency labels and disclosure mechanisms. So in the transparency labels and disclosure mechanisms, we're talking about platforms that are increasingly label AI-generated contents to inform users, including warning or watermarks indicating altered media. So wherever the media has been altered using AI, so these particular policies or enforcement should be in place, where AI-generated content to inform users, they should be marked about the warnings or the watermarks that we're talking about. Okay. So you have a content, takedown and policy enforcement. Here, the platforms have policies that explicitly ban.
Prasanna, can you wind up within 2 minutes?
Yeah, harmful deepfakes and employ rapid response teams to address misinformation. So platform cooperation, including standardized AI APIs and shared datasets, enhance collective defense capabilities, right? So since we are running out of time, I will not touch the legal and regulatory frameworks because that's already been touched, and spoken by the previous speaker. So we'll skip that part. So do we do the AI governance and frameworks? Public education. The technology alone cannot solve the problem. A well-informed public is essential in building the long-term resilience. So there need to be digital literacy campaigns. There need to be media verification training for journalists, educators, content creators. Then we have the trust frameworks, the initiatives that promote verified contents, such as journalist accreditation and trusted media networks, so on and so forth. The challenges still remain. So keeping pace with the technological advancements and addressing ethical and legal and global coordination is very important. So the challenges and limitations, there are plenty. Then we have technical, ethical, and operational challenges that limit the effectiveness of the current strategies. So we have generating detection arms race. So they're advancing in generative models. Then there is adversarial attacks. Then there is the zero-day synthetic techniques. So these are new manipulation methods that emerge faster than the detectors. So the dynamic environment is demanding continual updates and retaining detection models, right? So then there is detection accuracy and bias. So this comes based on the advanced detection systems. They are unable to sometimes be fair, and it's not reliable. So that is what it's talking about. And privacy and consent and surveillance risk. This is always there. So the local laws and the global laws, they come into play. So there's a mass surveillance consent and detection systems and all of this. And there's a misuse of detection tools, right? So globally, there has to be a coordination and the policy fragmentation. That could be one area which would actually help, resolve some of these challenges. Then what are the future directions? We're almost there. So the synthetic media is, anyway, as we know, it's complex and it's growing at a fast pace. So there has to be a long-term resilience that will depend on coordinated innovation. And so there is hybrid human AI systems. So there has to be a human AI collaboration. There has to be an expert verification networks. And then, there has to be a federated open detection frameworks. These are called as the federated detection models that are decentralized and open source. So the detection tools must follow these models. And there are open source tools that are widely used for detection libraries and standards, such as the Microsoft Video Authenticator, Adobe's the Content Credentials Initiative, and so on and so forth. Then you have shared database benchmarks. So public diverse data sets for synthetic media training and evaluation can improve the model performance. And there is blockchain and decentralized proofs. We know blockchain is a very, very powerful and a secure technology. So this could be used. And then you have real-time authentication tools, wherein you have cameras, smartphones, and all, which actually detect and actually tell you whether based on the embedded metadata about the authenticity of the media, right? So biometric and behavior signals. Let's move on. Cross-sector global. So we will move on to the conclusion because it's all about education. So basically, synthetic media, it's fueled by the rapid advances in generative AI and represents one of the most profound shifts in digital information ecosystems. So the technologies offer powerful tools for creativity, accessibility, and innovation. And they also introduce and pose new risks like manipulated identities, deepfakes, disinformation, erosion of public trust, and whatnot, right? And the AI-powered detection and defense strategies, they are the critical foundation for addressing these threats. So from machine learning-based analysis to watermarking, provenance tracking, human AI collaborations, the tools available today represent significant progress in fighting against digital deception. So let's be realistic at the same time. There is no silver bullet. So, but we can thrive as a 360-degree strategy, and the generative models continue to evolve in sophistication. So much the frameworks and institutions designed to counter these misuse of this, right? So the battle against synthetic media is not purely technical. We are also talking about ethical, legal, social, and human angle. So integrated, transparent, and collaborative approach can actually help build a digital environment which is open and trustworthy. So the road ahead, well, we have to invest in a resilient infrastructure. We have to be informed, educate people, include governance, so we can ensure benefits of AI far outweigh its risks. And the truth in the digital age remains a shared and dependable value, right? So thank you so much. Any questions or anything, you can always get in touch with me on this. Yeah. Over to you, Jay.
Thank you, Prasanna. Thank you for that nice presentation. And there are questions, but I would skip it at the present moment due to time limitations to the panel discussion, because I'm going to ask you around 5 questions today. So that will be relevant to the topic which you have already discussed. So allow me to make my presentation at the present moment, and I'll get back to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So once again, good morning to all, and I would introduce myself. I'm Professor Jaishankar. I'm the founder and principal director of the International Institute of Justice and Police Sciences, Bangalore, Karnataka, India. And I'm thankful to Michael Joyce for giving us the opportunity for the second time. So this is the second time we are collaborating with the Human-Centric Cybersecurity Partnership and SECREV. And we did a presentation earlier on cyber criminology in South Asia. And this time we have gone ahead and are collaborating on an area that is artificial intelligence, deepfakes, and the criminological, legal, and also the technological perspectives. So you all heard there are 2 significant speakers talking from a legal and a technological perspective. And I am going to take you to the criminological perspective, where we will be discussing on the types of deepfake crimes, the deepfake criminal methodologies, the criminological theories, and the impact on the victims, and policy interventions and mitigation strategies. So I hope many have seen the presentation of Alaeldin, where he was talking more about the typology of deepfake 2. In spite, he touched a lot of things on law. But still, as a criminologist, my understanding would be slightly different from his perspective. And I'll be giving some typology like political disinformation and propaganda, how it's going to create a problem where we are going to see that there are a lot of deepfakes evolving and emerging. And you can see in the cases of the American elections or other elections, we have seen this how deepfakes are being used for political disinformation and propaganda. And it can undermine the democratic process by spreading misinformation and eroding trust in media. You can see that already a lot of fake news are coming, and we are seeing that how democracy is compromised because of that. And even now there is a war situation between India and Pakistan, and we are finding many people using deepfakes to spread some disinformation too about the loss of the lives of the people, or even the infrastructure like the aeroplanes and other paraphernalia of the war. So this is misleading political content also create a problem with the public opinion, or also it will impact on the voter behavior and decision making. You see, now the same case, I'm giving an example of the Indian situation where these kind of political disinformation may impact the future elections in the country. The next comes the financial scams and the fraud, and Dr. Alaeldin also touched upon that, related to how deepfake technology was misused by people to scam people and making impersonation in video calls. And also it had some implication on the businesses because a huge loss of money is going to happen, and it has happened. And previously, the difficulty of robbing a bank, the difficulty of robbing or attacking, looting something is higher level. But now it has become very simpler and simpler, you can see, due to the financial scams and frauds by the deepfake technology. So it because previously we thought everything we saw in our eyes or see in our eyes or real, but now we can't believe our own eyes in this case of deepfake technology. The last and impacting one, again, I would refer to Dr. Alaeldin was mentioning about a case of a male where there may be a chance of misuse of that person's life. If he's a professor, that he's having a sexual talk with a student, and that can be a deep fake, and that can impact on the person. Yes, of course, there are many cases are emerging at the present moment, but we are seeing that more women are victimized, especially in the USA and South Korea, and even in India. So we have seen some cases of the Taylor Swift and other people who are whose body parts were morphed or changed with precision. That is a very important thing. So earlier also the same women victimization happened by morphed images, and we can identify easily that which is the real and which is the morphed images, and people were not bothered. But now the danger is there that in social media lots and lots of images are there, and then these images can be culled out and put in a website called removecloth.org or removecloth.com or cloth remove. Many websites are there, and very unfortunately these websites are asking money, and people are doing this kind of activity to defame, sexually humiliate people, and very difficult. So it's very becoming more and more worse than previous times, and I don't know how people will cope in the future, because it will impact very deeply on the victims. So the deepfake criminal methodologies, the next session, we'll see that how the techniques are being used for the deepfake victimization. So cyber criminals exploit deepfake technology to create realistic fake videos or audio that can mislead individuals and organizations. How the methods are even told by Mr. Prasanna. And next is the targeted phishing attacks, where phishing attacks involve sending deceptive messages to trick individuals into revealing personal information or credentials. Again, see, this is not something very new, but how it has become modern, that is what, or novel, that is what you have to see. The techniques used by cyber criminals are already there, but now it is being very polished, thorough, and enhanced by artificial intelligence. That's the problem here. What lessons we can learn from the deepfake crimes cases? Because there are many case studies which are already discussed by previous presenters. So I'm not going to go deep in that. But what lessons we have learned? We have seen that notable scandals involving deepfakes demonstrate how these technologies can be misused for deception and manipulation. One thing is that the technology is growing and growing, but the human behavior, again, is not that static, but it is also dynamic. But the problem with the system processes such as law, technology are not that equating with what the offenders are doing. So the impact on the society is that deepfake crimes can undermine trust in media and leading to significant societal consequences and confusion. See, when a technology comes into the society, people want to use and test and try it. But this kind of technology, when there is a great misuse is happening, there are chances people will withdraw from the technology. So that is the danger, because any technology is for the growth of the humans and not for the destruction. Even there are cases like nuclear bombs, which are against humans, but still there is under control. But now deepfake crimes are not under control and not regulated. That's a danger. And preventative measures has to be done in this case. This is one of the areas we need to look into. And next, I come to the core part of my presentation, especially as a criminologist, to understand the criminological theories and frameworks. Some traditional criminology theories are always applied to digital crime, especially one particular theory is routine activities theory, which speaks about that crime occurs when motivated offender, a suitable target, and a lack of guardianship all converge in one place of time and space. But there are a lot of critics against routine activities theory, because this is created for the physical space and not for cyberspace. Because in physical space, there is a latitude and a longitude. There are coordinates X and Y, and you can fix the suitable target, absence of a capable guardian, and likely offender in one time space. But unfortunately, internet lacks geography, or cyberspace lacks geography, where fitting this particular theory in a digital crime is a little bit difficult, but still many have used this. So we can also try and test this. And I have found that after testing this theory for cybercrime, it is inadequate. So I created my own theory in 2008, which is called space transition theory. So this theory is very simple, that where I posit that people, when they move from one space to another, their behavior changes. So that's very normal, that when you go to a college, your behavior changes. When you go to a shop, your behavior changes. The same thing. But the problem here is that when you go to a shop, your behavior changes, but still you remain the person where you are. But here, the person is anonymous. So that is the problem here, where I brought the particular postulate. Persons with a repressed criminal behavior in the physical space have a propensity to commit crime online due to the status and position, which they never want to commit. But also this, again, the identity anonymity, and there is no deterrence factor, because in physical space, if you go to the shop, somebody wants to take something from the shop, the camera is watching or the humans are watching, but here nobody is watching what's happening. So this is a big problem, and there are 7 postulates of my theory, which I am not going to explain in deeper, but this model developed by Guntur and Longe, derived from my particular theory, is a wonderful way of explaining these things. And I would say that this theory is just can be applied to the current deepfake crimes, because it is originally found to understand cybercrime. And now deepfake crime is a little bit advanced form of cybercrime. Apart from that, I would suggest for more interdisciplinary approaches, because you see, deepfake is not a kind of a single problem. It's a kind of a hydra-headed monster, where you need to look from a criminological perspective, a victimological perspective, and then a technological, and then a legal perspective. So one single person like me, who is a criminologist, cannot stop or mitigate, or even Alaeldin, a lawyer, cannot mitigate, or even a technocrat like a Prasanna cannot mitigate. We need to collaborate. All the 3 people come into convergence along with the society. Then we can try to create policies for the government, create laws for the government, at the same time creating more education, and that would be more help to mitigate this problem. In the other part, I would like to speak on the victim's impact. You can see that impact of victimization is physical, financial, and mental. In this case, there is a greater psychological effect, because they undergo emotional distress. There's a sense of violation, and the fear of public scrutiny. And you can see that, see what crime a victim has committed. He or she has not committed any crime, but still people are talking bad about them. People are doing something behind them. So, and even sometimes the victim may not know that such thing is happening behind that person. And that will create a lot of emotional distress and social anxiety when there is a question where the person may be even ostracized from a society, shunned from a society, suspended from the job, dismissed from the job. All these things will create a big problem. And next comes the reputational damage. That is a very, very important thing, because a reputation is created over a period of time, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. But one single deepfake crime can destroy the reputation, as pointed by Dr. Alaeldin, that it can harm their professional life as well as their personal life, because of their loss of the job or anything, that it will even create problem in their personal relationship. And also it is very difficult to again rebuild the same, because you see it, as I pointed, these kind of crimes are headed monster. In one place, if you cut, it will emanate in other places, because thousands and millions of websites are there. So it is not that easy to stop one. Again, the social media such as Facebook, such as WhatsApp, are fast. You can send the images to everyone and cause a significant damage. And the legal and financial consequences are higher for these victims, where they have to go to lengthy battles, because as pointed Dr. Alaeldin, that laws are only emerging. Still, we have not got a big foray into that. So it will take a longer time. Crimes have advanced, but the laws are in the primitive stages, because you see the lawmakers did not anticipate anything. That is the thing, right? Like any politician or any lawmaker will not anticipate what's happening, whereas the technocrats, they anticipate, or the criminologists like us, we will anticipate. But then already the damage is being done, and then the impact will be higher on the victims. And legal battles are something that is not like 1 year or 2 years. It will take some longer year. In the meantime, the secondary victimization of the victim will be very higher and difficult to manage by themselves and others. And financial consequences are very higher, both in terms of personal as well as the legal, and they have to spend a lot of money to come out of the damages. And without any kind of their input, all these things happen with the deepfake. The last session segment of my presentation will be policy intervention and mitigation strategies. What can be done, especially when it comes to regulatory frameworks and legislations. So establishing clear legal repercussions is essential to deter the misuse of deepfake technology and protect the victims. So this is again another problem, whether it's the Arab region having a different law, or the Indian region having a different law, or the American having a different law. That will also create a much a problem. There should be some kind of uniformity to deter this misuse of deepfake technology. And proper legislation is necessary to safeguard potential victims from the harms caused. So that is also there, and the compensation should be provided by the state for such kind of victims also, apart from the regular physical space victims. And also the regulations are very important to address the challenges posed by the technology. So the regulation is only one, but then we need to go for technological solutions also, because you see most of the things are happening of the technology, by the technology, and on the technology also. So like you see, it happens from one software, and then after that it is developed by another software, and then it is spread to by another software such as Facebook or AI, or using WhatsApp or others. So the technology also should be used to detect such things. So the importance of detection, investing in technology is mandatory, and then you need to advance the algorithms also. While the deepfake algorithms are growing, you need to parallelly develop algorithms which are going to find out that how manipulated this media are. And AI tools for detection should also be improved, and it will create some trust on the people also. The last but not the least is awareness. So awareness is not there. People are using technology, but the misuse of the technology is what people are not aware. So that is why cybercrime is happening. Many of the cybercrime is happening not for uneducated people. Very strange that people are losing money in phishing scams, or people are losing in some threat, like in India recently, digital arrest. Somebody is coming like a police officer in a video and telling them that we are police officers, so you should oblige us and you should not to go anywhere. And if you give money only, we will release you. All these things are not happening for some ordinary people. You see, they are highly educated people. So we need to educate, not the uneducated alone. We need to educate the educated people also, because every educated people doesn't mean that they know everything. There are areas such as technology, there are areas such as law, and there are areas such as deepfake technology. People will not understand even though they are educated. So we need to educate them more. And we need to train individuals to identify potential deepfake threats that can empower protect the individuals and also others. And knowledge sources also should increase, and more process should happen. So I'm planning to bring out a popular book on these lines to help people, because I always see that many of the things that academics do remain with academics and doesn't reach the masses. So I am planning now to create a kind of awareness book on these deepfake crimes, which will help the public to understand more on this. So to conclude my presentation, so first prong we can do is that to understand deepfake technology, so that we will also understand the potential misuse of that. Then what are the types of crimes involved? So currently I told the 3 types of crime, which is political disinformation, then the frauds, and then the women victimization or the men victimization of misuse of the technology. But more crimes using AI may evolve in the future, because technology is growing, so also we should be there. And the impact on victims is higher and higher, and we need to create some strategies. And for implementing effective mitigation strategies, we need to create a kind of legal or technological and also victimological solutions. So thank you very much. And if any questions are there, I am interested to answer, but still we have another 20 minutes, so we will be starting the panel with within 1 or 2 minutes. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Professor Jay. May I have a question for you, Dr. Jay?
Yeah, please.
You know, we have different legal systems. We have more than 200 countries in the world. Are there any particular jurisdiction that you believe have implemented exemplary legal responses to deepfake crimes, and what we can learn from them? Like, you know, we have, yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, deepfake is a new phenomenon. So again, it's an extension of the current cybercrime. So some of the nations are only trying to utilize their own cybercrime laws to extend the arms for the mitigation of deepfake crime. And there is no exclusive or any legislation, because you see AI is even developing now only. So many of the countries are looking into how to develop AI, and also how to mitigate such crimes by AI, so or misuse by AI, because AI is not creating its own crime, except in some cases where such things are going to happen in the future. So that will be again need to be legally and also politically controlled by systems. But as of now, I don't see that still we have not gone to that extent that we have created a legal situation for deepfake. So it is evolving. I would say that maybe in another 3 years things may sort it out.
So you agree with me that cybercrime laws, the current cybercrime laws, are not or insufficient to address deepfake crimes?
Even though, see, AI is an extension of what cybercrime has already been done. So AI is being used in addition to that, right? So, but there is some kind of a thin line between what cybercrimes and AI crimes are there. Because again, AI crimes can create a new model also, not necessarily the original old way of doing cybercrime. Because again, cybercrimes are now also in transition, where some of the crimes are cyber-enabled crimes and cyber-dependent crimes. So some crimes, people are using cyber only for conducting physical crimes, but not online crimes. But the same things like what happens in cyber-enabled or cyber-dependent crimes, purely crimes like hacking and happens. But now AI is not somewhere fitting in one or other, because whether it's purely cyber-dependent or purely cyber-enabled, we do not know. Because one point here is that AI crimes, somebody is creating an image. So there the technology ends, that's all. The creation for that AI technology. After that, it is not AI anymore. Again, it comes to conventional routes like WhatsApp or Facebook or anywhere. The spread is happening. So it's not the creation of the image is the problem, because somebody can create any image, not a problem with AI. But if they start spreading, then that's the biggest problem. It happens because that is going to harm the victim. Suppose some X is creating a morphed image about Y and keeping that photograph in their own system, there is no problem. But that is not, people stop there, right? They start spreading. So when they stop spreading, that is cannot be called as an AI crime, right? So it's an AI-enabled crime again, right? So that's what now there is a kind of a thin line between the conventional cyber crimes and AI crimes is going to happen. At one point of time, we may tend to say that is AI enabled crime. Okay. Alaeldin, if not much questions are there, I would move now to the last session. We have just small time, but we would maximum maybe I can ask 3 questions to each panelist. So I would request Prasanna to come to the video. So I would start with Alaeldin. The first question to you: deepfake crimes often cross borders. How can international legal frameworks evolve to hold creators and disseminators accountable, especially when they operate from jurisdiction within weak cyber laws? Are you understanding the question, Alaeldin? Should I ask you once again?
Sorry, say it again. Sorry, yeah, I couldn't hear you. Yeah.
Deepfake crimes often cross borders. How can international legal frameworks evolve to hold creators and disseminators accountable, especially when they operate from jurisdiction within weak cyber laws?
You talk about the international cooperation, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Look, we're not gonna invent the wheel. I believe, like, if we talk about international cooperation in facing or tackling deepfake crimes. So we look at our experience from the beginning when we start having difficulties to deal with cyber crimes. Talk about in 90s, even early, talk about probably 20, 25 years ago. I believe now law enforcement, including, of course, the International Police Organization, the Interpol, now they have more experience and the tools to defeat cyber crimes, AI crimes, and deepfake crimes. However, the problem is the scale of this kind of crimes. For example, if you go back 30 years ago, maybe not all of the countries' law enforcement equipped with advanced tools to tackle cyber crimes, at the same time to deal with daily complaints about cyber crimes. Now we have the same scenario. Now, probably I can say law enforcement, they're gonna start soon, if not started already, and I'm talking about different countries, to deal with AI crimes, with deepfake crimes. Now, the scale of this kind of complaints or the crimes, if any kind of law enforcement around the world has capacity to deal with kind of these crimes. Of course, they're going to be priority for some kind of these crimes. Particularly, I can say the crimes that touch or threaten the national security of the countries. For example, could be the crimes targeting senior officials in the country or the reputation of the country. Then this kind of serious crimes, which can threaten the national security, the reputation of the country, can take the priority to deal with this kind of crimes, cooperating with other countries if they are, for example, if the criminal locating in another jurisdiction. So I believe that we have the experience, law enforcement, they have the experience, they have the tools, and of course, as we know that, always criminals, they're trying to find a way to avoid these kind of tools or to avoid the law enforcement procedures. But by the end of the day, it's like a game between the cat and the mouse, you know what I mean? So always the criminals trying to avoid, to run away, to create different way to avoid being captured and brought to justice. If I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. And next question I'll pose to Prasanna. So, Prasanna, now you are finding that the deepfake generators are using adversarial AI to evade detection. What breakthroughs are needed in forensic tools to stay ahead of malicious actors? Because you see, the criminals are also greatly improving to evade detection. Yeah.
So sorry, Jay, can you please repeat the second part of the question?
No, like deepfake generators are also now using adversarial AI to evade the detection part. So what breakthrough needed in forensic tools to stay ahead of the malicious actors?
Okay. So definitely the deepfake, is being used by the adversarial actors to avoid the detection. And as we were speaking in the presentation also, there are a number of detection tools that we are talking about, which actually help cover these. But at the same time, the tools, even though there are advanced generative models we're talking about, and there's adversarial attacks, then we have a zero-day synthetic technique. So it is actually a combination of tools and techniques and strategy. It's just can't be a tool. That's one. And two is that at the same time, these detection tools that we are talking about need to also be regularly updated, and they need to see what are the new changes that are happening from the adversarial parties and how it needs to be modified or tweaked to ensure that the new threat is also taken care of. Saying that there are definitely the stable fusion that we're talking about is one very good generative model. Then we have a style GAN. That's another thing. So there are a number of such tools which actually generative detection tools that actually help and which can actually detect these adversarial impacts. But as I said, it has to be a very good combination of strategies and tools put together and innovation of the tools regularly. So yeah.
Thank you, Prasanna. And next question I would pose to Dr. Alaeldin. Alaeldin, you are seeing that there is a problem with the freedom of expression vis-a-vis the control, because you see in some cases where we find that the laws may curtail the freedom of expression. So what do you see there's a challenge in this, where how the law can be a balanced one between the freedom of speech as well as the mitigation of such crime?
Yeah, of course. This is like always we face kind of the balance between the freedom of speech and how the law should act and face kind of the crimes, you know what I mean? Look, I can say you have to look at it from different angle or from different perspective. Always there's a limit. You have to respect the laws and you have to respect the culture, the sensitivity of the culture, the religion, you know what I mean? So always there is a borders between the freedom of speech and of course the crime. For example, deepfake can be used, for example, to express your opinion or what you want to deliver. But I can say that anyone can use this kind of technology has to make sure to read about the regulation of the country where you live in, the law, and of course we have different legal system from Australia to UK to India to Jordan so I can say that freedom of speech is of course it's important. Using the deepfake for the positive side is good, but also I know that if you use this technology in a bad way or in where you breach the privacy of the other people or their reputation or the national security of the country, then this is not out of freedom of speech. You are committing a crime. So that's what I believe. So in my opinion, it's there's always a clear line between the crime and the freedom of speech.
Thank you. I think it also is going to impact the countries also, because freedom of speech again is interpreted differently by different nations. For example, the American freedom of speech is not the same in the Arabian region or the Indian region. Thank you. And Prasanna, the next question is for you. Do you see that there is a possibility of real-time integration of AI detection in social media platforms such as WhatsApp or Facebook? And what are the ethical and legal hurdles or even technological one in that case?
It's actually a very, very vast area because there are two things that I would cover. One is, Jay, one is the ethical, and the legal side, and the other side is the technological side of things. When you try to integrate the AI and the social media, definitely there are the good sides would be from a let's first talk about the technology side and the governance side of things and the legal side of things. It definitely helps the authorities in terms of preventing a lot of crimes being committed and trying to track people and make sure that we have a more kind of calm and a controlled environment that we are in. However, from a more ethical and a privacy concerns, it actually invades into the the individual's privacy. I mean, saying that even if the AI is not integrated, we have a lot of social media platforms and applications that are actually already invade into the privacy of the individuals by collecting all the data about the accounts. The social media applications and platforms are using AI extensively in all shapes and forms, and we see a lot of data is being collected, and the security and the privacy of such data being collected is definitely under question. And no doubt, that is one of the reasons where the GDPR, which is predominantly around Europe, and then you have HIPAA, whatever you might call, and then you have the UK regulatory laws. Then recently we have the DPDP in India. Then you have the Social Online Account Acts in Australia. All these have come into play because they are concerned about the personal privacy and the security of the individuals who are using these platforms. So there has to be a balance. It's good to use the AI into these social platforms and media. However, saying that, it is also required to ensure that the privacy of the individuals is also taken care and the ethical issues are also addressed. So there has to be a fine balance. So yeah, thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much. And next question. So we have 3 more minutes, so I would balance one question to Alaeldin and one probably to Prasanna. So Alaeldin, the current legislation which you have mentioned, especially in China or even in UAE, makes more impact with the punishing the offenders. But what about the victims? What justice provisions or compensation provisions are available in the emerging legislations related to AI?
Okay, that's a good question. Yeah, there's already tools for the victims to seek for compensation. However, I've seen what in China now. China is already in the law. They already decided how much compensation for the victim of deepfake crimes can receive. Now we don't have it in UAE, but because it depends on the person and the scale of the damage, and it needs experts to assess the damage till they decide how much he can receive. But of course, he can seek compensation alongside with the criminal side of the case. Yeah.
Okay. So the last question to Prasanna. So Prasanna, you are running a company called Supra, and how do you think like companies like Supra can collaborate with the local law enforcement or the international law enforcement to develop digital evidence that can be substantially presented in the courts of law?
Well, definitely, it's already doing, I would call this more of an MSME, a medium to a small size enterprises. They are also, working with the local authorities because they have a very good grip of understanding of the geography and the topography and the demography, all of them put together. And that actually helps collect the digital evidence more effectively because it also helps them understand the environment and help the legal enforcement authorities because definitely the international as well as the local bodies would need the help of such organizations because it is not possible for them to have all their guys work on this hands on board. So we are already doing that, and yes, the suggestion is very valid. It is very important that the smaller organizations also help collect the digital evidence. Yeah, the collaboration is very important. Yeah.
Thank you, Prasanna. And I take this opportunity to thank both the panelists, especially Alaeldin and Prasanna, for bringing a myriad and varied perspectives. See, that's what the technology, the integration of the law, the criminological and victimological perspectives, these only can mitigate such form of crimes because we cannot work in silos. And I see that our combination of this particular presentation especially connecting the technology, connecting the law and the criminological and victimological perspectives will take this situation to a longer time. And I feel that our collaboration will also help to mitigate deepfake technology to an extent. So that way we will protect the victims, the potential victims, and also prevent such victimization in the future. So thank you, both of you. And also, once again, I thank Michael Joyce and the SECREV team for inviting International Institute of Justice and Police Sciences, Bengaluru, Karnataka, India, to be the co-host of this particular session 3 on artificial intelligence, deepfakes, criminological, technological, and legal perspectives. Thank you very much.